My name is Davey Blackburn, and this is my story. So while I'm in college, I end up meeting this guy named Gavin, and he said, man, I don't know why I haven't thought about this, but I need to introduce you to my girlfriend's sister. I think you guys would just hit it off like crazy. And I was like, man, that doesn't work. That setup stuff, that doesn't work at all. And until I walked up to Amanda's door and rang the doorbell, and she answered, and I was dumbfounded. And man, we just hit it off. And so we ended up graduating school, getting married, moving her to South Carolina, where I came on staff at that church. But about 3.5 years in, God began stirring on our heart about this idea of planting a church. Part of moving to Indianapolis was so exciting, and the idea of planting a church was alluring, but it was also very scary at the same time. And so over the course of 4 years, we finally started gaining some traction. Finally started seeing people come to our church and stick. We were seeing lots of people come to know Jesus. And then on November 10th, 2015, everything changed.
28-year-old mom, pregnant with her second child, shot dead inside of her own home.
Murder case that stunned the city's northwest side.
Noon breaking developments in the Amanda Blackburn murder. Overnight, police arrested and booked a teenager on preliminary murder charges.
I woke up early that morning, about 4:30 in the morning. It was just supposed to be a typical Tuesday for me. Got in my car, drove to the gym, got back to the house and opened the door, and my absolute worst nightmare and worst fear was right there in front of my eyes. I found Amanda face down on the floor in a pool of blood, and she was unconscious. And I just thought she had gotten lightheaded, she had fallen, hit her head, and so I thought, man, if we get her to the hospital, she's gonna be okay. Maybe we lost the baby, but she's gonna be okay. And I called 911, got the EMS there, and they rushed her to the hospital. And it wasn't until I got to the hospital that they told me that she had 3 gunshot wounds, and 1 was in her head, and that it didn't look good at all. We discovered that there were 3 men who broke into our house while I was away, and tried to steal some things, and ultimately ended up shooting and killing Amanda. I was struggling with why I wasn't dealing with anger. I just felt loss. I didn't feel anger, but the first time that I remember having an emotion of anger was when I found out that the 3 guys had been arrested, and I saw their pictures on the news. And I remember that emotion coming into my heart, and just like not really knowing what to do. I never felt something that intense. I remember that emotion of anger welling up inside of me for the very first time, and having to like stare that face to face. What I've come to realize is that forgiveness is a really tough thing to actually walk through. And I was trying to wait. I knew forgiveness was the right thing to do, but I was waiting for the feeling of forgiveness. Well, when I feel like forgiving, then I'll forgive. And I realized very quickly I was never going to feel like forgiving. In fact, if I was waiting for a feeling, I was going to continue to slip into bitterness more and more and more. And it would become this just vortex that would suck me in. And so as I was wrestling through all this, I realized, man, I can't wait for this feeling of forgiveness. I've got to make a decision. And not just a one-time decision, but I've got to make a daily decision. Every single day, I've got to wake up and say, I choose to forgive. Because if I don't forgive, it's going to destroy me. The thing that really got me wrestling with that is I was reading through my quiet time a couple weeks after all of this had happened, and I remember reading about all of the injustice that was done to Jesus on the cross. And while he's on the cross, he looks out among all of the soldiers who just nailed him there and said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. I remember just that confronting me face to face, and confronting my heart, and realizing I've got to make that same decision. That I've been extended forgiveness, And I started wrestling with, man, have I really experienced that forgiveness if I'm not willing to extend it myself? I've decided, man, I've got to, if nothing else, I've got to daily decide to forgive.